Alright, it's Monday. I went to Agco on Saturday, Agco dealer, and it's now it's Ohio Cats where the Agco dealer is, and I got the new PTO bearing, which they claim is a special bearing, which I assume maybe that chamfer on there is something special. That looks different. The old one's got a chamfer on it too. Huh. About the same on that side. That one's only chamfered on one side though. Anyhow, got the bearing. There's $110 here. Between the bearing was $40. Those two snap rings, and 3 exhaust manifold gaskets for the gleaner. So, yeah, a little more than I expected, but hey, if you're gonna pay, you gotta play. Or you want to play, you gotta pay. So anyhow, yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. We're gonna get the Oliver back together. I need to want to change the rear end oil. I don't know how much more is in there, and get the shaft back in it. So the injection lines are done. Oh, and I did get clamps. I got screw clamps for on here, so I'm gonna put them on too. So, all right, I'll bring you back. All right. I got a couple of these clamps on. I got 3 of them on there. Yeah, that's not what the problem was this evening. Yeah. I said I was going to change the oil on it. So I pulled the plugs. I started pulling plugs in the up under the rear end. There's 2 right above that bucket. There's 1 back there above that bucket. Yeah, it probably takes 6 gallons, or it had 6 gallons in it, so I don't think it was leaking too bad. But I pulled the back plug out, which is down there. And this is what I found. And of course I had to stick my finger in the hole, feeling for metal pieces, and this is what I found. That, this little piece, which that looks like a brass connector or copper connector, wire connector, and I couldn't figure out what this was. And of course it wouldn't come out through the pipe plug in the bottom of the rear end. And I got my magnet stuck to it. The magnet come off the end of my thing, so I had to, we pulled the 6 bolts or whatever it is, pull the PTO housing off, along with the PTO shaft. And the only good thing is the splines are good on here. So either somebody's replaced that, which I tend to believe, or it hadn't had too many hours on the PTO. But yeah, I found these 2 pieces down in there, and they wouldn't come out through the drain plug. So we took the housing off, and we got to looking up in there. I don't know if you can see it up in there, but up there, there's a set of the roller bearings just at the top of that nut, and stud sticking up there. There's a bolt with a little bracket on the right, and it's broke off there. And what that is there was a switch bolted to that, and that was the neutral lockout switch, so you couldn't start it in gear. When I pressure washed this thing, I commented about why them two wires were hanging there. And those wires are the neutral safety switch, so you can't start it in gear. My guess is that bracket broke and they tied them wires together to start it, because that switch fell down in there. So anyhow, that's my excitement. So we got to get a gasket for the PTO cover. The clutch cover down there, it takes an O-ring. That's not a big deal. And I can't get the shaft out of there, so anybody knows how the shaft comes out of there, I think it's just stuck in the splines, and I think the splines have got a burr on them, but it should pull out one way or the other. The 1750 should go out the back, but we couldn't get it out the back either, so I think there's a burr on the splines or something, and it just won't go. I tried tapping on it with a rubber hammer, but anyhow, this video is getting long enough. I wanted to show you what I got into tonight. Nothing like opening up a can of worms. I got my bearing on the shaft. There's a snap ring right in there, and a snap ring on there. So anyhow, that's probably enough. So those snap rings, you can see they were really worn, so I put them in new. So all right, well, that's enough of this. So thanks for watching.